Yo, her boyfriend got deported, and her dad sent her this. Dad of the year right here.
Hey, honey, so that boyfriend of yours, he's gone. And when I say gone, I mean deported. I made one phone call to ICE, beautiful people, best agents, and 30 minutes later, they had him in the van crying like a little baby. Turns out that so-called student visa of his expired in 2019, and he never left. How sad. But please understand, I did it for you, princess. That kid was a walking red flag factory. He couldn't even speak a lick of English. Come on now. Next thing you know, he's got you eating tacos for breakfast and naming your kids Ricardo and Jose. None of my bloodline, sweetheart, you're a catch. You deserve a guy who owns a truck, not a guy who gets picked up by one. You deserve a man who pays taxes, not one who disappears the second someone asks for a social security number. So yeah, I snitched. I reported him. Don't be mad. Be proud. Your dad just saved you from a lifetime of translating for him at the DMV and explaining to your kids why Santa says Feliz Navidad. Now go touch some grass, eat a cheeseburger with real American cheese, and find yourself a nice boy named Hunter or Braden who says, yes, ma'am, and owns at least one pair of boots that aren't from Payless. Love you more than anything. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program, part 2. I am your host, Joe Neiman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. See, Renee understands how things work here. She starts with the like button. This is what we like to see. This is what we like to see. This is what we like to see. You know, it's funny you saying this. It's funny you saying this. Only because you know how I had to leave? I had to cut my first show a little shorter than normal because I had to get to like this party. Well, it was a dinner party, which they asked me to speak at. And when I walked in there, it was so quiet. Like all eyes just sort of turned to me. Because it started like at 7. It's 7. And normally these things start late. I guess they started on time because they were well into that meal. They were finished with the appetizer, the soup, well into the main course. And I was like, hi. Hi. Anyway, you could see I changed. I did a quick swapsy. Anyway, I know I said I was going to have an hour-long call-in show, but I was like, how do I have just a call-in show? I need to have something I'm talking about. And one of the things that's been really, I almost talked about this. I thought about covering this. I thought about covering this. What is this? What are you sharing, Joe? What is that? This is the decision which led to the dismissal without prejudice of the case against James Comey. The reason I thought about covering this, because this is the decision that came out a week or so ago, where the case was dismissed on the grounds that Lindsay Halligan was not, in the eyes of the court, properly appointed, and the case against him was dismissed. The U.S. Attorney, Virginia, wasn't properly appointed. So I was thinking about breaking this down because there's talk about whether or not they're going to try and bring charges again, which this was interesting to me because, as many of you may already realize, we're past the 5-year statute of limitations. But then I heard about this thing called tolling. Now, tolling, I understand, I'm familiar with the term. I was unfamiliar with this, that there's actually a statute under 18 U.S.C. 3288, which allows for, if there's a procedural defect in a indictment which leads towards its dismissal, and the statute of limitations has run, but you brought the case timely for the indictment, secured the indictment timely, that would toll. It would add on additional 6 months from the date of dismissal to bring new charges. Question is whether that tolling statute would apply here, which I think is a very interesting legal issue. You might at first glance say, why would it not? Why would it not apply here? Of course it should apply. That's certainly the case, the position the state is taking, because they are looking, according to reports, at resurrecting these charges as against James Comey. And there's interesting legal arguments to be made both ways. I think it's not clear cut, because the question here is based on the wording. What she wrote, just Judgment Cameron Curry, when she wrote this, is that she's going to grant Comey's motion to dismiss the indictment without prejudice. And this without prejudice means that you're allowed to bring it again. Now, the judge knows statute of limitations has run. Question is whether it's been told or not. The reason this is interesting is because the way Judge Cameron Curry wrote this decision was that the reason that the case is being dismissed without prejudice is because she thinks that you're only supposed to dismiss with prejudice when there's real abuse by the government. And she didn't think that there was real abuse here, like an intent to harm or strip the flagrant abuse of the civil rights of the defendant. But she did not think that that's what existed here. However, the saving grace of tolling comes if you have an indictment which there's a procedural defect. The way the judge worded this decision, if you go through it, is that because Halligan was not properly appointed in the eyes of Judge Curry, that there's no that she's voiding everything that Lindsay Halligan did ab initio, from the get-go, as if it never happened. So and that's kind of the logic behind saying I'm dismissing it without prejudice. With prejudice would be, look, you did this and you did this in such a terrible way that I'm not letting you bring it back. Without prejudice, the logic that she gave is I'm pretending that nothing ever happened here, that there was no indictment, period. So if in fact that's the logic, that there's no indictment, period, then how is it told? Meaning, how does that time period get extended out under 3288? So I think it's an interesting legal question that I don't know if this has come up or not. I've never researched this yet, but I stumbled on this, and I thought about doing a whole more intense dissection than the 6 minutes I spent talking about this now. But I just wanted to break that down for you, that is an argument that is going to be presented. And I don't think it's really crystal clear either way. I talked about this in the context of these judges removing these Alina Habba. And I was talking about this just yesterday, about how this is all Grassley's fault. This is 100% Grassley's fault, that he's allowing for this blue slip issue. That was in yesterday's show. Not my earlier show from today. That was in the show from December 1st. So, yeah, I do still think that this is all on Chuck Grassley. And because he's just abandoned the blue slip rule. If you don't know what the blue slip is, shame on you for missing yesterday's show. So, there you go. There you go. That's the story here. How will this play out? I don't know. I have no idea. Frankly, this is the weakest one in the sense that I feel like there's very little chance he's going to end up getting convicted anyway. But they definitely don't seem to be done with Comey, at least in the eyes of the government. They may be cooked, but they don't think they're done. And they may or may not be. Who knows? But I wanted to call your attention to that because I know it's a case that is of great impact to all of you. I want to talk to you about the narco-boats before we get to the phone calls. And I'm going to be taking phone calls tonight. Tonight's show is brought to you courtesy of Metta with an E, who made sure we got across the finish line by basically saying, hey, no, not so fast. Not so fast. I'm not just letting you get out of here and go over to hang out with Pisco tonight, which was on the agenda. I was going to basically be debating with Pisco. And she said, no, I reject that plan. Because I had offered, I said, hey, I'll do a second show if we hit our goal. So she offered to bring us across the finish, if I would bail on Pisco. So I did. I was like, sure. 10:30 show started. 10:37. That started 10:37. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anyway, Likes are still too low. That's basically what he's saying. It's still under 50%. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. We're going to wait. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You think I'm kidding? We're going to wait. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we got to get. No, come on. Come on. Come on. What the hell is that? Doesn't matter whether you care about narco boats. The world cares. The world cares. Cares. The world cares. Dak. All right. We're getting close enough. We're getting close enough. Gimme, I heard that they had 6 months as long as procedural error didn't involve statute of limitations. I have to call you to tell you about a miracle I got. Well, we're going to have the phones open up soon. Excuse me. But the I hope it sounds like it's good news. I mean, you're talking about a miracle. That sounds like it's probably good news. Anyway, let's get in and start talking about, in case, for those of you who are wondering what the heck is going on, there's a lot of talk on social media right now about the narco boats and how we've been blowing up the narco boats. So I just want to break down this whole story for you. It really goes back to a downing of a narco boat that happened on September 2nd of this year under Pete Hegseth. But let's go and look into what the current situation is. U.S. launches Operation Southern Spear, unveiling new robotic fleet to target cartels. So we now have a robotic fleet of ships to take out narco boats. U.S. is launching a major new military and surveillance campaign in the Western Hemisphere, deploying an unprecedented mix of robotic air and sea vessels to counter Latin American drug trafficking cartels. Called Operation Southern Spear, the initiative, I guess they're patrolling the Gulf of America. Called Operation Southern Spear, the initiative was formally announced Thursday night by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who said through his account that the mission follows direct order from President Donald Trump. So this goes back a couple of weeks, where we actually have a whole operation that's going on there now. President Trump ordered action. The Department of War is delivering. Hegseth Operation Southern Spear defends our homeland, removes narco-terrorists from our hemisphere, and secures our homeland from the drugs that are killing our people. Western Hemisphere is America's neighborhood, and we will protect it. Campaign will be led by Joint Task Force Southern Spear in coordination with U.S. Southern Command, U.S. Naval Forces, Southern Command, U.S. 4th Fleet, headquartered in Mayport, Florida. Operations expected to begin later this month. In a statement, 4th Fleet officials described Southern Spear as a significant step in the Navy's evolving hybrid fleet campaign, which integrates robotic and autonomous systems with traditional naval forces. Quote, Southern Spear will operationalize a heterogeneous mix of robotic and autonomous systems to support the detection and monitoring of illicit trafficking while learning lessons from other theaters, said Commander Foster Edwards, 4th Fleet's Hybrid Fleet Director. This will help develop critical techniques and procedures for integrating RAS, which is robotic and autonomous systems, into the maritime environment. The mission will deploy long-dwell robotic surface vessels for patrolling, small robotic interceptor boats capable of high-speed maneuvering, and vertical takeoff and landing robotic aircraft for aerial surveillance. Systems will operate alongside the U.S. Coast Guard cutters at sea and feed intelligence into operation centers in the 4th Fleet and the Joint Interagency Task Force South, which coordinates regional counter-narcotics missions. So we now have this ongoing operation there, Operation Southern Spear. Okay. But we've been going after boats here in the Caribbean for a few months now. And really, I wanted to break down all of the attacks that have been going on. But because the strike that has everyone outraged at Hegseth is that he purportedly, when he was overseeing the initial strike, and the first strike came on September 2nd, that he supposedly said kill everyone. That's what he supposedly said. And the Washington Post came out with a report claiming that they fired and there were 2 survivors. and that because Hegseth said kill everyone, that they fired a second time, which now the left wants to call this some horrific war crime, which sounds stupid, but it's the left, and any way they can try and think that they're going to successfully attack the Trump administration, that's what they're going to do. So that's what they've done. They basically claim that, he's engaging in war crimes and that Hegseth is out of control and engaging in war crimes in the way he's controlling our military. So, as reported, frankly, I started pulling up one thing after another with respect to how this whole thing broke down. Sadly, Wikipedia actually does a better job breaking it down than most other agencies. I don't really want to get into a whole lengthy thing, but I am going to peek over there with you for a moment so that we can just sort of get a general feel for the attacks that have been going on. The U.S. announced on September 2nd that a military vessel struck and sank a speedboat that alleged was smuggling drugs from Venezuela to the Southern Caribbean. But they're claiming this is the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which is operating in the Caribbean. During a high seas interdiction mission, El Pitazo in Venezuela's El Nacional stated that the boat was destroyed on Monday, September 1. Trump announced that the attack from the White House describing the target as loaded with narcotics. Lots of drugs, bound for the United States. And in a post on Truth Social, Trump stated that the operation killed 11 members of Tren de Aragua. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the sinking on social media, stating the vessel was operated by a designated narco-terrorist organization. I don't know why anyone is weeping for narco-terrorists, but apparently that's what the left is all about. Rubio said, instead of interdicting it on the president's orders, we blew it up, and it'll happen again. According to the Wall Street Journal, the attack was U.S. military's first publicly acknowledged airstrike in Central South America since we invaded Panama in 1989. Venezuelan media reported the vessel came from the village of San Juan de Unare, located in the Paria Peninsula in Sucre, a coastal state in the northern part of Venezuela. El Pitazo reported that the boat was a flipper type with 200 horsepower engines, about 12 meters, 39 feet long, and was headed for nearby Trinidad and Tobago. Two other vessels which departed at about the same time escaped detection. U.S. military veteran Luis Quinones stated in a television interview that the 3 warnings in English, Spanish, and Portuguese to stop were issued. And sources told journalist Sebastiana Barrias that the vessel contained a considerable cargo and that some had been thrown overboard before the U.S. attack. But who knows? Maybe it wasn't drugs. Maybe they were throwing TV sets overboard. Hot TVs. Originally a fishing village, San Juan de Unare has been for 2 decades taken over as a transit port in the drug trade, according to Rana Rizquez. So this is the city which they left from. Yeah, didn't mean to do that. No, let's make this a little smaller. So they left from San Juan de Unare in Venezuela, and they were headed to Trinidad and Tobago, and this is where they got struck. All right. New York Times and AP reported that national security sources acknowledged that the boat seemed to be turning back when it was hit. In November 2025, the Washington Post, citing 2 sources with direct knowledge of the operation, reported that Hegseth had given a verbal order to SEAL Team 6 to leave no survivors. 2 men who survived the initial strike were killed in a second strike, according to anonymous sources. Sean Parnell, public affairs spokesperson for the Pentagon, stated, quote, "This entire narrative is completely false." Hegseth responded on social media that the fake news is delivering more fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory reporting to discredit our incredible warriors fighting to protect the homeland. CNN stated that Hegseth had ordered the military prior to the operation to ensure the strike killed everyone on board, but it's not clear he knew there were survivors prior to the second strike, one of the sources said. 5 U.S. officials speaking anonymously to the New York Times outlined the same chronology of the attack unfolding. They said Hegseth ordered a lethal strike ahead of the actual attack, but did not give orders about what to do if the lethal strike failed, and did not give the order after seeing footage showing survivors. So, yeah, he didn't say, go attack them. Question is there something wrong with what they did if Hegseth didn't say it? Carolyn Levitt, press secretary of the Trump administration, later rejected that Hegseth gave orders to kill everybody, but added the president has made it quite clear that if narco-terrorists are trafficking illegal drugs towards the United States, he has the authority to kill them. So don't really care. Not crying over this. Washington Post also reported that intelligence analysts observing the boat fire's surveillance aircraft were increasingly confident that it was carrying drugs, and that protocols were changed after the strike, providing for rescue of survivors, according to anonymous sources. On the 1st of December, referring to Franklin Mitch Bradley, Levitt said that Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. Bradley was promoted after the strike. So, yeah, we're all like, good on you, right? The guy got a promotion. So that is Trump administration saying, you did good, you did cool in our books. We're fine with what you did here. Personally, I think they did fine as well. Here is Caroline Levitt answering questions on this topic.
Does the administration deny that that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Abe, and I have a statement to read for you here.
So the latter is true means that there was a second strike, but that Hegseth did not give the order for that strike.
President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated.
To clarify, Admiral Bradley was the one who gave that order for a second strike.
And he was well within his authority to do so.
Did Admiral Bradley order that second strike because there were still survivors after the initial strike?
Again, as I read for you, Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law. He directed the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat of narco-terrorists to the United States was completely eliminated.
So was the initial order from Secretary Hegseth, everyone be killed, and did that come from President Trump?
I saw that quoted in a Washington Post story. I would reject that the Secretary of War ever said that. However, the president has made it quite clear that if narco-terrorists, again, are trafficking illegal drugs towards the United States, he has the authority to kill them. And that's what this administration is doing.
You said that that second strike was in full accordance with the law of armed conflict, but the Navy's own manual of law of war says that specifically firing on survivors from a wrecked vessel is an example of a war crime that's forbidden under U.S. law and the law of armed conflict. So how was that second strike in following the law of armed conflict?
I think a lot of people are asking the question, what's all the fuss? All the fuss is if they've already been disabled, the notion is that they're no longer a threat and they no longer can be, you can't fire on them when they're not a threat and basically execute them. That's what the left is screaming about. They're calling that a war crime to fire upon people who are no longer a threat. We'll hear from Hegseth on this.
That second operation.
Again, Andrew, I would reiterate to you the strike was conducted in international waters and in accordance with the law of armed conflict.
Why won't the administration either confirm or deny or reveal whether or not there were survivors after that initial first strike? And what imminent threat would two survivors pose who were clinging presumably to the wreckage of that boat?
Again, as I said, I think you guys are sort of not listening fully to the statement I've provided. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was totally destroyed and the threat to the narco-terrorists to the United States was eliminated.
So there you go. They're saying that there still was a threat to the United States at that point in time.
Potty training.
Don't need that.
Pull-ups training pants. They They work just like undies. And if accidents happen, he's got backup. Look at that confidence.
Oh, I wish I had.
Sweet. So there you go. So that is Caroline Levitt telling us that we didn't do anything wrong here. Everything is totally fine. And frankly, I have so little sympathy for drug runners. When you consider the scope of the problem that we're having here, we're at war with these people. Just because they don't have an army doesn't mean we're not at war with them. They don't have an officially sanctioned country behind them that they're representing, arguably, which Trump would say that they do. He would say that Maduro and Venezuela are behind it. But just because they're not officially uniformed as Venezuelan soldiers doesn't mean that we're not at war with them. And he's well within his parameters here to say, you know what, this is how you're attacking us. You're attacking us with drugs, fentanyl specifically. How many millions of people have to die before we say this is not okay? So I'm totally cool with this. I have no problem with this. Today, there was a cabinet meeting during which this was addressed. First, let me get to JH. In the Indian culture, they have a book called the Kama Sutra. In the Jewish culture, we have a book that is similar? If not, do you and Nikrakeda? No, that's definitely not going to happen. I'm definitely not writing a book like that. First and foremost, I certainly have too far. As far as like Jewish perspective on this, I am certainly not an authority. So no, I'm definitely not writing this book. Thank you for asking, though. Thank you. I'll write a Kama Sutra book. Yeah, I'm all about that. Thank you. All about that. All right. Has any so-called international courts ever convicted Somalian pirates for any crimes? We benefited from their immigration. Military is in there, right? We benefited from the immigration. Military is in there, right? I was in there, right? I think that's what you're trying to say. Okay, look, I'm going to tell you this. I know that this concept of an international court, to me, the international court is a joke. I don't understand why we would ever participate in that other than like being cordial. But the whole international court concept is something that never sat well with me. Even when I was hearing about it 25 years ago as a law student for the first time, this never sat well with me. I'm like, why am I subjected to this international court? Who is overseeing this? It sounds like a bunch of people who are self-important. I don't give a damn about the international court. I've never like, oh, I hope I can be exonerated in the international court. What? Why? Why would you care more about that than a group of fourth graders who vote you class president? Like, you're an adult and a group of fourth graders vote you class president. Why is that any less significant than what an international court says? Like, who cares? That's like someone starting a magazine and then saying, I'm calling you man of the year. Like, why would an international court have any authority? Any like, did you ever subject yourself to them? Because I'm a human, so I'm subject to whatever the international court says. Who cares? So yeah. So that's why I don't care about international courts. I think they're a joke. Now, to the extent that countries would align themselves with the international court and execute their will, then they actually end up developing some sense of power. But yeah, to me, I would basically tell any international court, no, you're meaningless to me. Your job is to give me money, make me laugh because you give me joy, and I thank you. I knew it was well intentioned when you asked me to write a Jewish Kama Sutra book. All right. Let's hear from Pete Hegseth, what he has to say about this entire second firing on the Narco-boat on September 1st or 2nd of this year. This was from a cabinet meeting earlier today.
For taking questions with your assembled cabinet. I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela. You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, but you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I wanted to clarify something you had said in an interview back in September, I believe on Fox News. You said that you would watch that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this: every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives. 25,000 lives. They've been sending enough of this.
I just want you to just think about that for a moment. So these folks here, 25, basically we're about to kill 25,000 Americans. If you, let's assume he's exaggerating. 5,000 Americans, who cares? 100 Americans. All right, kill everyone on that boat. Kill them all. Kill them all. Like, who cares? They're freaking Trendo Wawa. Who cares? Kill them all. So all the boo-hooing, oh, no. 25,000 Americans, he's saying. If it was one American, I would say kill them all. 25,000 on average die from every boat they bring over here. Yeah.
It's horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack, to kill our entire nation, because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample and they died. They died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this, I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that.
By the way, there have been a lot of attacks at sea. This one is getting a lot of press. You probably are unaware, and I'm going to come back to that clip in just a moment. You're probably unaware as just to how many attacks there have been. But there have been a lot of attacks. There's a chart here that they had on Wikipedia as the number of boats that we've downed, that he's saved hundreds of thousands of lives so far, if you believe anything about his numbers. September 1st, one vessel, 11 killed. 15th, one vessel, 3 killed. September 19th, one vessel, 3 killed. October 3rd, over here, the Dominican Republic will cover the cocaine, which, by the way, that's a serious problem. I don't know about Dominican Republic, but I certainly want Venezuela recovering the cocaine. October 3rd, Caribbean, Venezuela, first strike after notification of armed conflict. Caribbean, October 14th, one strike, 6 killed. Sorry, one vessel, 6 killed. October 16th, one vessel, 2 killed, 2 survivors repatriated. October 17th, one strike in the Caribbean, allegedly affiliated with Colombian ELN. Then we have in the Pacific, first strike in Eastern Pacific on October 21st. 2 killed, one vessel. Another one October 22nd in the Pacific. October 24th in the Caribbean, 1 vessel, 6 killed. October 27th, 4 vessels. 3 strikes on 4 vessels leave 1 survivor presumed dead. 14 dead. Sorry. Again, another boat in the Pacific on the 29th, on the 1st, November 1st, on the 2nd, on the 4th, on the 6th, 2 boats on the 9th, another boat on the 10th, another boat on the 15th. So, yeah, all told, they say something like 80 people have been killed. There's been a number of strikes. This has been an ongoing thing. God, it's how many hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16, 18, roughly 22 boats. So this wasn't the one. This is the one. There have been a number of strikes.
There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along, and a lot of the press would like to say they're not. You see the boat, they're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions and loaded up with lots of white containers? They're bags of things. No, they've done an amazing job, and Peter's done an amazing job. Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
No, you're spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. We've got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources, not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first. Did I hear
I
it
couldn't tell you
correctly?
the exact amount of time.
You went off the rails, is what you're saying.
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
So remember this, we lost last year, I think it was more than that, but you know, people don't like saying it because they always said 100,000, 115,000, numbers we've been hearing for years. So we lost last year more than 200,000 people, dead people, ruined families beyond the 200,000. And those 200,000, that family will never be the same. But these people have killed over 200,000 people, actually killed over 200,000 people last year. And those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land too. You know, the land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know the routes they take. We know everything about them. We know where they live. We know where the bad ones live. And we're going to start.
So there you go. There you go. It is a little different. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. And again, I have no sympathy for these people. And I think that the concerns about killing these drug runners are, I'm sorry, I have so little sympathy. I don't know, maybe if I was a better person, I would have more sympathy for them. These are people who are selfishly trying to destroy societies, lives, for their own wealth. No, I don't really think that that's something. I don't think that's something that I need to really have concerns about. But I do think that given the time lapse between there, that's going to open up for those people who do think that this is like some sort of terrible calamity. The time parameter they puts in there, that there was considerable time. It wasn't just back-to-back strikes, but that there was enough time for him to, you know, basically say, okay, I've seen enough and leave, indicating that there was, you know, some period of time that lapsed between then, is only going to make people question whether or not that's how there's a fog of war. Like I said, my personal position is I want them dead. I'm fine with it. I'm really fine with it. I don't have concerns for them. But those people who do worry about the international community, or those people who are looking to find ways to attack this administration or Hegseth because he's associated with this administration, like this jackass over here.
There is no lawyer that I'm aware of who indicates that second strike is not a war crime. These were individuals in the war.
This, by the way, in case you're wondering who this is, Leon Panetta. Same Leon Panetta who ran the CIA and DoD when Barack Obama was drone striking American citizens in the Middle East. Yeah, that Leon Panetta is now talking about war crimes. There's so much hypocrisy here.
Who were wounded. It is against the law to strike and kill those individuals. They did that. As far as I'm concerned, there is a war crime involved here. And it's for that reason that I think we need to hold people accountable. Secretary of Defense.
You want to hold him accountable for tying his shoes and tying his laces in a way you don't like. This is the stupidest thing. You think we need to hold him accountable. And all of a sudden, like this, Leon Panetta here is the voice of moral authority. Oh, thank you for weighing in. Oh, wise Swami. Oh, we need to hold people accountable. Oh, okay. Leon Panetta says we need to hold people accountable. Jackass.
Should be somebody who stands by the law.
Yeah, stands by the law.
Who stands by the requirements that you have to put in place if you're going to responsibly conduct aggressive action against anybody. That's the responsibility of the Secretary of Defense. He ought to be taking that responsibility and not trying to move it to others.
The hardest part was tying half my brain behind my back.
Who are basically following his orders.
So, Mr. Secretary, when you say that people have to be held accountable, what does accountability look like?
Accountability is a court-martial for somebody in the military if they broke the military code of justice in the implementation of these orders. And for the Secretary of Defense, very frankly, it has to be disciplinary action from the President of the United States. The President said he was told that the Secretary had nothing to do with it. Well, that's not turning out.
Where was the disciplinary action against you for killing hundreds of civilians? Where was that? Where was that?
To be the case.
Where was that, Leon Panetta? They're such utter hypocrites. And speaking of people who are just mind-boggling, I mean, I'm sorry. I used to like Senator Rand Paul. I used to like this guy. Tweeting out today, Coast Guards show that prior to a rain of blow them to smithereens, 21% of boats stopped off the coast of Venezuela possessed no drugs. No drugs. Okay. Here's his letter that he got from the Coast Guard. Dear Senator Paul, in response to your letter dated October 6th, 2025, regarding the Coast Guard's efforts to interdict illicit drugs headed towards the United States since September 1, I offer the following. From September 1, 2024 to October 7, 2025, Coast Guard surface assets operating under Coast Guard Law Enforcement Authority interdicted 212 suspected drug smuggling vessels at sea headed toward the U.S. Of the 212 interdictions, 41 vessels had no illicit contraband on board when interdicted. So 24 of those, that doesn't mean they didn't throw them overboard. It just means they had nothing on board. 24 of those 41 vessels without contraband did not appear to commit any federal criminal offense. Of the 212 vessels interdicted during this period, 69 vessels were interdicted in the Caribbean Sea by the Coast Guard assets operating under Coast Guard Law Enforcement Authority. Of those 69 interdictions, 14 had no illicit contraband.
Her boyfriend got deported, and her dad sent her.
That wasn't what we wanted to happen.
Dad of the year, right here.
I know that.
Hey, honey, so that boyfriend of yours, he's gone.
Sorry about that. Of these 69 interdictions, 14 had no illicit contraband. 11 of those.
There is no lawyer
that's really
that I'm aware of.
Heck out of me. I'm just going to close all these tabs here. Try and, because this is the last tab I got. Other 212 vessels interdicted. So 11 of those 14 vessels without contraband did not appear to commit any federal offense. 3 of the 14 vessels interdicted near Venezuela, no illicit contraband on board when interdicted. Listen to what he's saying here. Coast Guard did not use lethal force against any of the 212 vessels. Coast Guard used non-lethal force to warn and or disable non-compliant vessels suspected of smuggling. That's what we were doing. We were like, stop, don't do that anymore. That's what we're doing under Biden. Stop, please don't do that anymore. Please don't do that. Of the 212 interdictions conducted by the Coast Guard from September 1, 2024 to October 7, 2025, 208 were interdicted in international waters. Okay. Of the 212 interdictions conducted by the Coast Guard, there were 3 were territorial waters in the United States. The remaining single interdiction took place in foreign territorial seas, whose enforcement was authorized under a bilateral international agreement. 21%. You know what that means? 79% of them have drugs. 79%. And that doesn't account for the added intelligence that Hegseth was saying that they did to ensure that this boat actually had drugs. But Rand Paul, loony TDS sufferer that he is, basically has to say, whatever Trump does, I'm going to sit here telling you why it's so bad. So he basically is trying to claim that 21% not having drugs is an argument in his favor. In his favor. Rather than like, you're telling me there's like virtually like an 80% chance that we're getting rid of drug runners. I'm really okay with that. I'm really okay with that. Just saying. Yeah, that's what the Biden administration was. Don't make me count to 3. That's funny. That's pretty funny. All right. I promised that I was going to have a call-in session tonight. I should probably get started on that. So, if you're interested in having a conversation with me, if that's your deal, you can talk to me about the narco-boats. You could talk to me about destiny. You can talk to me about whatever. You can talk to me about your job, your love life. I don't care. It's open mic night. The number to call is 972-454-0703. I'll even put up a little banner here. When the banner is also to remind you, it's around that time that you should hit the like and subscribe buttons. The number is 972-454-0703. I assume I'll hear from Kimmy at some point. I'm assuming I'm going to hear from Kimmy soon.
Call from
Parker. Dick Parker.
To accept, press.
Dick Parker.
Hey, Joe.
How you doing, brother?
All right, man. Very good. So yeah, I'm doing off topic.
That's all right.
I don't know. You remember the first time I super chatted you? You had Great Logic on there with you.
My dad.
Yeah. And I had said, because they had just found that big tunnel underneath the passage between Egypt and Gaza.
Oh, okay.
And I made the comment. Well, if Egypt likes them Gazans so much, why don't they give them a chunk of land right on the Mediterranean and the Sinai? And your dad kind of rolled his eyes and shook his head. They don't like him. They don't like him. And I just wanted to rebut that. If you see him again, you can tell him how it said.
Uh-huh.
If I told you that I do not covet my neighbor's wife, and then you found a tunnel running from my garage into her bedroom so I could sneak over there without the neighbor seeing me after he's gone to work, you probably shouldn't believe me that I don't covet my neighbor's wife.
To counter what you're saying, though, Dick, just because tunnels were dug doesn't mean that the Egyptian government likes them. That could have just been ignorance rather than tacit approval.
Really? A tunnel large enough to drive a semi-truck through?
Is there anyone better at digging tunnels than Gazans?
I mean, but
they built a whole subway structure under Gaza.
Those Vietnamese were pretty good at it.
Yeah, okay, but I'm saying is they built a subway structure which they say dwarfs New York City subway structure.
I agree with.
Yeah, my dad.
I mean, they had.
I'll tell you this much also.
A defense above the ground.
I'll tell you this much. Egypt, ever since the deal that they made in 1979, 78, I think 79. Ever since they made that deal, Egypt has been considered an ally of Israel, where Israel gave up the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt.
I remember that.
Like they're quote unquote they're good friends, right?
How long ago was that though?
Well, that's going great. I mean, it's been going for nearly 50 years now.
The Muslims, the Quran only allows them to sign up a peace treaty that lasts. They got to break it within 10 years.
All right. Well, they've been honoring it for damn near 50. So that deal actually worked out fairly well. The point that I'm getting at, the point that I'm looking to get to here, is that their close ally, Egypt, basically has gone on record as saying that the one thing that is essential is that Gaza stays. The Palestinians stay in Gaza to be a continual thorn in Israel's side. So they all want them to be a thorn in Israel's side. That's part of what they're looking.
So that was kind of a contract signed
That's
Yeah, benefits Israel's deficit.
Yeah.
Sad.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna. We got a gift here. While you were calling in, so Brian Oldenkamp came along and he said that he's going to bring in 10 new members of the following.
Go ahead, read them off.
So let me just read that off. Also, before I get to that, World Radio says, Joe, God bless you for putting up with the ass destiny. Even the hooded moderator was annoying. LOL. Schrodinger's double tap on the Narco-boat wins. So Brian Oldenkamp, God bless you. We're going to give you the horn here. The following 10 people brought into the following, courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp. Please, when you hear your name called, express your gratitude to Brian for bringing you in, giving you the gift of life, really. That would include Kansas Mima 8346, World Radio 332. Look at that. The guy sends a super chat and then gets gifted. That's so nice. Mm-hmm. That's good karma there. Liberty Loudmouth, Kelly Suggs 93, Lisa Faltersack 5535, JJ Hoff 1379, RMIU 2FD, and Metta. Oh, look at this. Metta with a long E. So glad that she got it, considering the fact that she actually purchased this show tonight. She's like, no, you're not going to hang out with Pisco. You're going to instead come back here, because that was the deal I had in my first show. And she's like, I'll push you over. And she's like, she just sent out like $100 super chat to basically say come back, as well as Echo Victor 6, and Robin Dopp brought into the following, courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp. Can you please tell Dick? Can you tell them what what it means to be a part of the following?
You're way better at that than me.
No. I want. Look, you're a member of the following, right?
All right. This is absolutely no way a cult, type of cult, and Joe is definitely not the leader. He's just another follower like us.
I am definitely not at all the leader, just a follower.
And we're all here just be better human beings.
Bam!
And learn and educate. Yes. Through
community.
You got me there.
Community, unity, learning, and thinking.
Yeah. I got to write that one down. I'll remember the rest of the skit.
My brother, you're awesome. Anything else you want to give me before I let you go?
No, I'm good for tonight, man. I hope you have an awesome Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Send the family my love, brother. Send my family the love.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, brother. Have a great night.
Have a good one.
All right, 972-454-0703. I guess I could pull up some parts of my if we get bored here, if no one calls in, which I never know when people are going to call. It's not like I don't like, text people, say, hey, call in. So I never know. I'm like, would I call in? I sometimes ask myself, would I call me? I don't know. Would I call me?
Call from Kimmy Hunt.
There you go. I told you she was coming. I told you Kimmy Hunt was on her way on in here.
Hi, Joe.
How you doing, Kimmy?
I'm good. I'm happy tonight.
Tell us why.
Well, it has nothing to do with my health, so let's put that on the shelf for a minute.
Okay, good.
All right.
I assume that's good.
It's status quo. There's no change.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a dog. You see her behind me in my profile picture, right?
Yep.
Okay, her name is Pippin. And she's 9.5 years old, and she's getting kind of, lonely and stuff. And I've been thinking about getting a puppy to kind of be her little baby sister or friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so Pippin's a schnoodle, and that's a half schnauzer, half poodle. And there's a breeder up towards Columbus, Ohio. It's about 2 hours away from me. And last night after I watched your show, and I was, looking around on YouTube, and one of her videos popped up, and it said, Tracy's puppies price reduced, and she never reduces the price of her dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty hefty price, and I've been trying to think about, I'd like to maybe get a puppy in the spring. Maybe I need to start saving and whatnot. Anyway, so I wanted to know how much the price was reduced. So I watched, and the one puppy that I liked in the litter was still available. So I called her this morning, and she told me all she really wanted was $250 for the spay, and I could have the puppy. Now, Joe, I sent you 2 pictures. The first picture is a picture of the puppy. I DM'd it to you, and I want you to show everybody what this puppy is going to look like. It's a little girl. But get this. Kathy was talking to me, and she said, "How are you doing?" And I told her what was going on with me and what I've been through and everything. I'm getting this puppy for free.
Wow.
She's
You guys,
she's gifting me.
If only you guys had to see how gorgeous this puppy is. This thing is just wow. I'm not even just saying that. This looks like one of those like movie kind of puppies. I should show them, right? I should pull it up on screen, right?
The second picture is what she'll look like when she's full grown. And
wow.
I want you to show that after.
Wow. This is the first one.
No, that's the second one.
That's the second one.
That's what she'll look like full grown. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what she'll be full grown.
So cool.
This one is what she looks like now.
She looks sagely. she's got that Legal Vices type of mustache on her face.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah. That is awesome.
So I'm so excited, and I need everybody's help. I need the following's help naming her. I have 3 names.
All right. What are your thoughts?
I have 3 names picked out.
Okay.
The first one is Daphne, Daphne.
I like it.
The second one is Fiona, because I'm kind of Irish.
Okay.
And the third one is Michaela, which is Michael with an A on the end, and that is also Irish. Michaela.
See, I would spell Michaela Mikayla.
Well, in Ireland, it's spelled Michaela.
Yeah, but no one knows.
Like Michael.
I understand that. Yeah. Whenever I've seen that name before, and I'm always like, that's Michaela.
It looks like Michaela.
Yeah.
But that's the Gaelic. Gaelic is pronounced totally different than it. You cannot do phonetically.
It's not like she'll ever have to spell her name, so it doesn't really matter for a pup as much as it does for a human.
And it's not like a teacher's going to try to pronounce her name at the beginning of the school year.
You're going to be introducing her to people as Michaela. So
Michaela, and I would probably call her Mickey, but Pippin will be her older sister, and Pippin is like blue. Pippin is black and white spotted. So anyway, I just wanted to share with everybody, and maybe we could do a poll to see if they like Daphne, Fiona, or Michaela.
I can do that.
And take a vote.
I can do that.
I'm getting her not this Friday, but next Friday. I have to puppy-proof my house.
Okay, we can definitely do that.
She'll end up being around 15 to 19 pounds full grown. And so I'm just excited. And it was just like God was like, and I thought about it. It was just weird how I had finished my prayers for the night, and I was just flipping through YouTube, and I went, what? And then I said, I'm going to call her in the morning. And then I called my mom, and she said, weigh your pros and cons. You're just getting your energy back. It's winter. It's not a good time to start a puppy going outside, all this stuff. And I'm weighing all the options and everything. And then I just thought, I think God wants me giving me something to uplift my spirit. And I think God wants me to move forward with new life. And I think that's what this puppy represents.
All right. Well, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. We got the
Anyway.
the poll is up and running.
Good. Okay, everybody vote.
There you go.
I need to know. All right. Thanks a lot, you guys and everybody.
I'll
and-
give you.
and I'll
I'll tell you the early numbers in Rumble are going. Well, the only person who wrote anything so far is Daphne. So, actually, no. I got to vote for. Sorry, no. I see a Fiona, Michaela, and a Daphne. So you got one across. Another one
Cool.
saying Daphne.
Okay.
All right.
I'll check them both out, and I'll even look in locals and see what they say. So
Cool. All right. Thank you
All
so much for the call. You're awesome.
love you, everybody. And if I don't see anybody before that, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
And congrats on getting Michaela. So
Thank you.
there's my vote right there.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. You can go for it. You can go for it.
Call from
Joey.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Thank God. Can't complain. How you doing?
If it was much better to be two of me. We're dealing with snow here. This is strange.
That's what you guys see. You guys might not realize this, but Joe's a transplanted Floridian. I'm not going to dox you by telling you what state he's in, which would narrow it down way too much. But yeah, he's not used to the snow. He ain't used to
No, we have to. It's like I have to budget extra time in the morning to scrape the windshield, and that's like not fun.
You have gloves now.
I have gloves. I have jackets. We have like a closet full of jackets. See, in Florida, you have a closet that is turned into a pantry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like bonus pantry. You put extra soup and whatever you put in your pantry in there. And here, you don't do that. You need a closet for your winter clothes, which is kind of strange. But we're getting used to it. How's the weather out there in Jersey?
It's pretty mild actually. It's gotten a little cooler this week, but it's relatively mild. I mean, it feels like it's probably like 40s outside.
Oh God, I wish I was. It's like below freezing out here. It's like yikes. But it's all good, man. We're actually really digging. We're having, without doxing myself, where we are, a totally new culture of humanity out here. People are friendly and stuff. And we love it. It's like the most bizarre thing. You go out and you look at people and they look at you and they say hello.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do with that. Wait, I'd be like, wait, me?
What? Me? Yeah,
Me?
What do you want?
what? I like reach in my pocket. How much? What do you need?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Is that all it takes? You set yourself up for that one.
I did. I really did.
But no. I'm just getting. I've missed the show a lot the last couple of months. And because I got this new job, the new move, and like new hours now. Like we're like 60 hours, 70 hours a week, every week after week, which is great because I like to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I want my wife to have a nice kitchen.
Oh, there you go.
So happy wife and all of that.
There you go.
But I haven't been keeping up with you as much as I like, And I like to dip in and dip out.
I appreciate you calling in. You have plans for Christmas?
Oh, probably. Actually, I'm going to be in your neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we could do a meetup because my parents are still not too far from you.
Sure.
And I'll message you and let you know when we're in town, and we can make an evening or an afternoon, get some sort of beverage, perhaps a snack.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I'd love to do that. Yeah. So
it'll be a good time.
Yeah, you feel free. You can ring me up when you expect to be coming to town.
Probably after the 20th.
Right.
Yeah, probably after the 20th. Message and let you know.
Sure.
So what do you make of this whole Hegseth bit? I think this is all just, dipping in it. Since I've like with the new lifestyle I've been dealing with the last 6 months, I kind of stepped out of social events, or I should say, social issues and cultural issues quite a bit because like my life focus has just changed.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? I mean, as an attorney, I presume you're freelanced for a period of time.
For an extended period of time.
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
Most of my
so you have
career.
these. Yeah, most of mine too. You have these periods of time where you make your own schedule, and then you don't, right? You get like periods of time where you're just totally owned by work, and then you're not. And now I'm back into kind of a grind where they really need me on my game most of the time, most of the week after week. So things like what's going on in the news just kind of fall by the wayside because I have like work to do.
Yeah.
Which is great. I enjoy what I do, which I'm so blessed for that.
That is awesome. I love doing this. I don't love doing video editing, and I sort of feel as if I need to do that. And I'm very, very just gearing myself up to doing video editing is just very, very hard for me to like actually get motivated. Like if I don't like doing what I'm doing, it's like I don't want to work. I just basically like I end up procrastinating. I'm just like I don't want to do it. It's like so if I don't enjoy something, but this that I'm doing right now, I mean not just taking calls, I'm saying in general, doing a show, like I enjoy even the prep of the show. I enjoy making thumbnails because I'm like I look forward to doing this. So
Nate did I think Nate, for example, he's a good guy to look to. His pendulum swung probably too far the other way because he started out very much like you. He stood in front of a camera with a microphone and he talked about issues. And he put his legal hat on and his social hat on, and he, very much like you. And then somewhere along the way, I guess as he got successful, he found he could basically podcast and have other people do the editing.
No, he does the editing himself. I mean, now I think he might have others, but when he first was making it big, he was doing the editing himself.
Yeah. But he made mention on this, I think it was Unley's podcast, that he's going to get back into spending more time in front of the camera.
Right.
Which I would love to see him do that. But
yeah, me too. But I want to point out to you. I want to point out to you. If I make like a 14-minute video, okay, I probably end up having to put in about right now
10 times.
How long? How many hours do you think I need to put in to make a 14-minute video?
10 to 1.
What?
10 to 1.
With 10 to 1 time? You mean like for
at least?
So you're saying 140 minutes? No,
easy,
it's much more than 2 hours. It takes me much more than 2 hours.
Well, you're not a pro.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I suck at it. It'll take me 5 hours, sometimes 6 hours to put out a 14-minute video. And
that's the grind.
And it'll seriously get like 2,000 to 3,000 views. Which for you to appreciate that,
so many guys farming out.
For most of you to understand what that means, 2,000 to 3,000 views, you have to assume I'm getting somewhere between $7 and $9 for every 1,000 views, which means that for that 5 to 6 hours of work, I'm literally making less than $20. So that's why it's like now I know that once I get better at it, that's how I'll probably start getting more views, and that starts becoming like a thing. But like when you're working 5 to 6 hours to make and to have an anticipated take of $25 if you're lucky, I'm sort of feel like, what the hell am I doing? Like what am I doing? That's crazy. So that's why it's become a thing that I'm just very frustrated by, and I'm just like I'd much rather just sit and prep a show and do that, and pop out super chats and but I know that the long-term model is certainly what Nate's doing far more than what I'm doing. And it's far more financially rewarding. I mean, it's far more growth, far more. YouTube encourages it like crazy. But I have to sort of
you got to put in
plow
your
through that.
10,000 hours.
I guess so.
Then there's no way around it. How long did it take you to become what you consider to be an able lawyer? I mean, you have the Jewish tradition in the study yeshiva, which probably taught you to read and study.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, why so many Jews end up in law, is because the idea of reading and studying text seems to be something ground into your brain from birth, practically. So it seems a logical progression that studying law would come naturally to those who come up that way.
Yeah.
Just because of culture. But you still put in a lot of hours to be an attorney.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that sort of feels like I'm in my education zone, not in my earning money time. You know what I'm saying? like you sort of have a mindset that like, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Right now I'm in school, so I'm developing myself for the future, as opposed to this is when I'm supposed to be making money. So it's very hard to sort of feel like I'm learning a new career that I'm hopeful is going to sort of work out. And, but like,
I think that's exactly the right answer. I mean, if you want to learn to do the video thing, and you don't have to be successful at what you do, but you've got to adopt that mindset of, if I'm going to be successful at this is what I have to do. I have to go back to school. And back to school doesn't have to be a formal education, of course. But you got to put in the hours. You got to put in the time, the sweat equity. And it's a drag, man, especially when you don't like it. There must have been aspects of law that made you just want to cry.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh my God, no more family law or con law or whatever it was. You just kind of went in there, God, make it stop. I think we all do. Some people die in biology class. Some people thrive there. And maybe video is just your Achilles heel.
Yeah.
Learn enough to get through it and then farm it out as soon as you can in small pieces.
I guess. Yeah, no, at that point, sure. Once you're actually making money from it, of course I can farm it out. But it's until I get there, that it's like, if I put $50 into a video right now, I feel like I'm losing 30. You know what I'm saying? And most of them are going to cost me more than $50. So, yeah, I mean, it's
seed money though, isn't it?
I guess so.
Does this work here? Because like I'm out here, there's a lot of farming, and we're looking at more than enough property to put plants on it. And my wife and I look at, we're not farmers. And my wife looks at me, would you like to learn to be a farmer? I'm like, hell no.
I'm getting hounded by Allegan News saying, Joe, we still don't have your first video star with Nate helping you. You need an editor as you suck at it. See?
Well, yeah.
You want to see the video I've been working on? I can't even tell you.
Sure.
I can't even tell you how many hours I put into this. And I at a certain point I just like stopped. I was just like, I can't do this. I can't. It takes me so long. It takes me. I can't even tell you how many hours I put into this stupid video. I was covering whether or not Obama would have immunity if Tulsi Gabbard went after her, which is actually relevant again, as they say maybe that this is being resurrected. The idea of going after Obama. Do you want to watch it? I'll put you on hold, and you can
sure.
watch it with me, or you can mute yourself and watch online. And that way you'll be able to see it because you won't see it otherwise.
Right. I can mute myself.
All right, so you mute and watch. All right.
Muting.
All right, this is what you all can see what wasn't for lack of effort. Can Barack Obama be prosecuted for what he and his administration did in 2016? The key to that question might be found in a case Donald Trump won. Trump v. United States. Let's walk through what we now know: the facts, the legal standard, and why Trump's own victory at the Supreme Court may be the very tool used against Barack Obama. And got the little subscribe thing there going on. There you go. On January 6, 2017, just days before Trump took office, the Obama-era Office of the Director of National Intelligence released a declassified report, background to assessing Russian activities and intentions in recent U.S. elections. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. You I don't know if you just saw that was just the intro. I'm saying like this is like I have 8 minutes of material here.
Oh, well, I know the chat and the audience must see it. Let's let it roll.
How do I make this? How do I make this bigger? I don't even know how to make the screen here bigger. Can I make this? I think that'll work. Elections. There's key language on page 7. We assess Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 to undermine public faith, denigrate Secretary Clinton, and developed a clear preference for President-elect Trump. We have high confidence in these judgments. That phrase, a clear preference for Trump, became political nitroglycerin. The media ran with it. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times. Within hours, headlines declared Putin helped Trump win. From that point forward, Trump's presidency was plagued by Russian collusion allegations. He was labeled a Kremlin puppet, a Russian asset. The media was relentless, predictably pumping and pumping this narrative. Equally predictable were the calls for an investigation. And that's how this report that Brennan, Clapper, and Comey made at Barack Obama's direction became so critical in leading toward the Mueller investigation. An investigation which cost $30 million, spanned 2 years, and overshadowed nearly every other political issue of the first half of Trump's first term. If all this went down during Trump's first term, you might be wondering why we're talking about this now. That's because our current director of national intelligence. So there you go. That you get a bit general feel for like what I was doing here. You get a general feel for.
Yeah, I get a feel. I get a vibe.
Yeah, I'm like. This is like seriously this 7 minutes of doing this that of material I have here, which is like basically I'm like in the middle of covering the law on this whole thing. I can't even tell you how many hours I put into this. The script, everything about it. It takes forever. It takes me forever.
So you do script it first?
Oh yeah. That's script. If I'm making a video, I'm gonna script it. I'll script it out first.
Yeah, now after you write your script, right, you've got your ideas down, you've got your language down, your points.
I have AI helping me give me like different perspectives as to like what to do, where to find stuff and things of that nature. It's not like it's not like a lack of effort. It's just
I'm not saying you're not making an effort. You know, I'm trying to tease out what the effort is, hoping you'll say something that I might recognize as stupid and say, don't do that, that's stupid. But you know, I did one video class in my education with when I'm going through college learning all the audio things, and I did two video classes for Final Cut, and it's bloody difficult. It's just not me. So I feel you. I feel you.
That's with Grok helping me, or ChatGPT. That's with Grok. They gave me, they write a script for me, and then I'm like, this part's not good. This part needs to tweak. This is a little bit misleading what you're saying here. But then I also need to make sure that my tone in my voice, because I know sometimes the tone in my voice will change dramatically, and that's so significant as far as making it something that's compelling versus something that's droning. It's how you conduct yourself, even when your face is not showing on camera, is a very, very important element as to how captivating something is. I gave a speech tonight, right? I mentioned I was going to this party that my wife was making for a neighbor. It was celebrating a wedding that I had last week. So I gave a speech there, and so much about your presentation is how confident you sound when you say something, how expressive you are, just the way you conduct yourself. And I find that my voice will change dramatically, just how on playback, depending on my mood, on my tone. And sometimes it's a little too dramatic. I'm like, let me dial that back, and it's sort of sitting there almost like I'm becoming a voice actor so that it sounds natural but compelling.
Yes. You are a performer.
Right. 100%.
Perform monkey.
Yeah, I'm a performer. I'm a performer. Exactly. And to get that tone at the right level is very tricky. Then the music level running in the background, that dun, 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 dun. It's like these are all small little things you don't think about when you're watching a video, but it gives the video a feel as if something is happening. You know what I'm saying? It just sort of and when to change up to a different type of style of music, that's more pressing or more urgency or more the clicking, the time clicking, the clock ticking. All of this stuff is really essential towards what I think makes for a video to be more engaging. And there's just if you're new to it, this is like I feel like I'm learning a new profession and hoping that I can basically win the lottery, which makes me feel like what makes me any different from anyone sitting in a class in vid school who's never opened a channel before trying to like basically hit it big. Like I don't know what makes me any different from them other than the fact that they actually have formal training and I don't.
Well, I think what makes you is people like you for you. You've never been but
that's me, the podcaster, not me, the video creator.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating.
I'm glad to see you doing it because, I think my friend Joe is going to have some personal growth and be better at his job for it.
Thank you. Hopefully.
You know.
Hopefully.
Yeah, sure, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you have much time to watch a movie with the wife or the family or the kids or anybody from time to time. If you listen for these things in the movie, you'll start hearing the movie and experiencing the film differently.
You're saying the background noises and things of that nature.
All of the background noises, all of the Foley, when you realize those footsteps sound fake.
Right.
It's like nobody's knuckles do that.
Right.
Or why is that chair so creaky? If anybody had a chair that creaky, and it's like your wife's like, shh, shut up, we're watching a movie. It gets, you really lose your mind. I point these things out to my wife all the time, and she like wants to throw a shoe at my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's part of the craft. And, once you've seen the sausage made, it's never the same. And I think that's what you're kind of stepping into a little bit.
Yeah, it's true. I actually told I told a story over tonight during my the speech I was giving, because this is a neighbor who lives down the block from me. So I'll call this guy Jim, even though that's not his name. I'll just make up a name for the neighbor. His daughter got married. I don't really know his daughter at all. What the heck do I know from some 20-year-old girl? Like I never had any conversations with her. So, but there was it's his. So I basically was talking about how inspirational her parents are. And I said, most people don't know this, but I actually know Jim longer than I know my own wife, which sounds weird considering the fact the first time I ever sat down for a meal was when we invited him over to my house one Shabbos. So shortly after Jim and his wife and kids moved to our block, we invited them to come join us for a meal on Shabbos. At the time, Jim was like 300 pounds. He was enormous. He sat down and we're talking, and I never met this guy before in my life, as far as I know. And I'm talking to him. This is now, we're both in our mid-30s at this time, and mid to late 30s. So I start talking to him about where I studied in Israel, like which yeshiva I went to when I went to Israel. And he told me which yeshiva he went to. And it turns out we were both studying in Israel the same year, like we're the same age, and we were in Israel the same year. So, and when he mentioned what yeshiva he went to, and I told him which yeshiva I went to when I was in Israel, and I realized, I was like, we played them football. Like we played football, like they would be like an inter-yeshiva game. So, and I was on our yeshiva team. I earned my way onto the team. That was actually our first game, was against his yeshiva. And that was a very aggressive game. It was we were playing tackle football, and the guy, so all of a sudden it hit me as I'm looking at him, because now he's 300 pounds. We're both bald, right? And I'm looking at him, and I was like, you were the guy who was covering me. And he's like, and he's like, yeah. And now you have to understand, like, we were like rabid dogs at each other in this game, right? So I'm telling this story over. So like, and I said, so now this guy's sitting at my table, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the guy who was covering me. Now you have to understand the context is, in this game, we were jawing at each other, just hitting each other every opportunity we got. And I ended up flying down, like right before halftime. We just like they threw a Hail Mary to me. I was running faster, I think, than I've ever run in my life. And I was always very fast. I'm running, and sometimes when you're running and you step into like a divot, so like you almost start running too fast, like your legs are going faster than you can possibly go. The ball goes up in the air, and one of our defensive linemen on the sideline screaming, "Nearman, Nearman, Nearman!" I'm running as fast as I can, and I running too fast, right? And I literally went diving. I was about like 3 feet off the ground, horizontal, arms completely outstretched. Ball comes straight over, lands into my arms for a touchdown. And I spiked that. It was easily I was a really good wide receiver. That was the best catch of my life. I mean, just it was picture gorgeous. And when I spiked that thing down, and the two of us were jawing at each other, like it was just, I mean, it was aggressive. Now, I didn't mention this part of it in the when I was giving the speech tonight. I mentioned the aggressive part. So I said, so he was covering me in that. And I was like, so as soon as it dawned on me, I was like, wait, you were the one who was covering me. So he's like, he like sort of blushed and he's like, yeah. And I go back into the kitchen where my wife is, right? And I said, that guy out there, I burnt him for a touchdown in Israel. So she looks at me like with this look of like disappointment. And she goes, him? I could probably burn him for a touchdown. And I was like, no, he didn't look like that back then. He didn't look anything like that back then. He's like, now he's 300 pounds. Like back then, he was a speedy little guy. He ended up later on losing like 100 pounds, and he was like running, and he was like became like really fit, and like he was like running by one time. And I said to my wife, that gym, that's the gym I beat for a touchdown. Not this fat schlub who's. No, I was like, no, he was like. So later on, after he lost the weight, is when I lost like a lot of weight. So I told him that story, and he goes, "It's so funny because you went back into like that you said that to your wife because after you lost the weight, like because when I went back and I told my wife how you burnt me for a touchdown, she looked at me and she's like, how?" How did that guy beat you for a touchdown? And she's like, he didn't look like that then. And like then he's like, and then when he saw me, like when I was stopped by his house one time with his wife, and he's like, that's the guy who beat me for a touchdown. Like after I got cut, so after I got like really shredded. But yeah, great people,
that's good stuff.
really great people.
Good stuff. Those stories never die, man. They last a long time. Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear it.
Anyway, brother.
Look, I know other people want to get on the line here.
Yeah, I had you on here for a while. It was great catching up with you. And seriously, give me a call when you come to town. We'll definitely hang. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And my best in the chat. I'm sorry I'm not there as much as I used to be, but I'm always thinking of you.
Yep, and we are too. And that's cool. You got work and life come first. We totally get it.
Oh,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it offline. Good day now. Good night.
Good night, brother. That gave me started eating. I felt like Al Bundy when I was describing it. I was like, it wasn't 4 touchdowns in one game. No, I had a great career. I was like the most dominant wide receiver in Israel that year. I was really, really freaking dominant. But I was skinny as a post. Like I was before I started working out, so I was really, really like just like rail thin. But
Call from
Jack.
Jack, what up, my brother?
How you doing, Joe? Been listening to you for years. Love you.
Well,
I just had an observation about the whole Narco-boat situation.
Cool. What you got?
I feel the left has no clue what the opium wars were and how China basically lost Hong Kong because they said, no, you can't drug our people anymore with opium. And the British were like, yeah, okay, well, we'll go to war and then we'll do it again. And now we have Hong Kong. And they decimated generations.
Well,
my
history is actually weak in this area. So why don't you enlighten all of us? What were the opium wars?
Well, that was basically in the, I think it was like 1830s kind of type area. And then in the 1870s again.
Mm-hmm.
But the British Empire was spending so much of their hard currency silver buying silk and spices from China, and they were going broke. And they said, well, okay, how do we get all our silver back? And then they said, well, let's go get the Chinese population hooked on opium. We'll sell them opium and we'll get all our silver back. And the Chinese government said, you can't poison our population with opium, and sorry, we don't want to sell you this stuff anymore. And so Great Britain said, okay, we're going to war. And they attacked China. And then they got Hong Kong on a 150-year lease or 99-year lease, whatever it was.
Right.
And then the British started selling opium to the Chinese again. So they had a second war, like anything in the 1870s. And again, they won. So using drugs as a subversive way to destroy a culture and a population goes back forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's happening with these narco-terrorists. They're destroying America. They're destroying a whole generation of young people using drugs.
And that doesn't even include the fentanyl element, which is, causing, which is literally poisoning. are
Well, it's poisoning and it's highly addictive, and it's getting cut into ecstasy. It's getting cut into cocaine. It's getting cut into all the street drugs. So that's why people think, oh, I'm just doing a little Xanax. What bad can go wrong? It's like, well, there's fentanyl in it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you're naive enough to think that China forgot about the opium wars, and if you're naive enough to think that the socialist states aren't proxies for China who wants to kind of get even, I mean, okay, go for it. But that's a reality, the way the world works. Like the left seems so naive to reality. They're just envious and naive. That's kind of like their platform.
They're not naive. They're not naive to reality. They are desperately trying to frame whatever they think the public will accept as a negative knock on Trump or anyone in his inner circle.
No, I would say that the left in power knows absolutely what they're doing, but the general population on the left is naive enough to believe all the propaganda and the lies and not understand history. And they just think humanity is basically good, and we could make it, you make it better by institutions, and that never happens. That's why they try to get control over everything. But narco-terrorists, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't get to poison our country.
I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy.
No.
And sit here crying about war crimes? No. To heck with these people. To heck with them. I'm not it's like, sorry. They're the same way they're basically soldiers out of uniform. Who are
absolutely.
So all right.
It's asymmetric warfare. Thanks so much, Joe. Keep
My
up the great
pleasure,
work.
Jack. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Are reduced price dogs like reduced price produce? I don't know. What is the star effect? I don't know what the star effect is in a video. Since Joe's tech support daughter left home, we have had lower quality, hire video editor, or go back to school. Okay, she never did my videos. There's no videos that she's ever done of mine. She never did any videos. The only videos she ever did, my daughter, was like, home stuff that we did. Or like, videos for like, a perm song. But not like anything that I did commercially. Simple solution, cut up the show in segments. You release as videos, no big editing, just to find the best of for short kick up to 1.5 times. This is actually not a bad idea and something that I've been thinking about doing, especially with the earlier shows that I'm doing. Meaning, since I'm finishing at, 8:30, 9 o'clock, so maybe after I finish, I'll like start actually editing it up. It's easier if it's less than 2 hours, the video, because it's just easier to get it down. But that's actually probably what I'm going to be doing soon. That's what Robert does, and it helps him a lot. They're buying tea. They love it. You do not appear to be of sound mind. Do you see a therapist or a psychiatrist? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. What part does not seem sound? You can call in. Talk to me, Ben. Tell me what parts. Bear in mind, I take that with a grain of salt, depending on who's saying it. So the number is 972-454-0703. 972-454-0703, which I just reopened that phone line. I should have opened it. I should have opened it a bit ago, because I see a bunch of folks have been trying to get in here. But I'm actually nearing like the end of where I'm supposed to be at, because I promised I was going to do this for an hour.
Call from
Yanso.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Logic?
I'm fine, thank you, my brother. How are you?
Good. I put in the comments that I couldn't call you because I texted you and it said you weren't available, so I got kind of upset because I wanted to say some stuff, but I'm glad I got to talk to you today. Hey.
Awesome. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so it's a little bit on the topic you hit a couple of days ago. We were talking about the National Guard and the kind of illegal orders that the seditious six think Donald Trump is giving.
Yep.
So I'm a DEP for the National Guard. I got enlisted last Friday, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, last Friday. So I'm part of the National Guard. I'm going to be an MP, a military police officer, which, coincidence, the girl who passed away, got killed, not passed away, but got killed maliciously by that Afghan terrorist. You know, she was also an MP. So it's so I guess my point
First
is
of all,
gonna be,
kudos to you for your service. God bless you,
thank
brother.
you, thank you. You know, it's something. I'm a criminal justice major, and it's something I wanted to do for my future career as a law enforcement officer.
Awesome.
And so it would look good on my resume. And of course, I'm a patriot, as I would say all of the people watching are. And I wanted to serve my country. I'm young. I have life ahead of me, and I don't mind putting 8 years into service.
God bless you. God bless you, brother.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. That's awesome.
So-
So, do you have any idea where you're supposed to be deployed to?
Yes, I'm going to be deployed to Missouri. It's called, I believe, what's the fort again? Lakewood? No, something Wood in Missouri. Maybe someone in chat would know. You hear my phone? I'm searching it right now.
No worries. It's okay. You don't have to get. I'm not.
Right, Fort Leonardwood. Sorry,
Okay.
Leonardwood. It's Leonardwood in. Yeah, there you go. Lefty shooter. Oh, I shouldn't have read that. That's a bad name, dude. Don't do that. On chat. Anyway, so my point is that, you know, this kind of orders that they're saying that Donald Trump is giving illegally, or that are not legal orders, and that you should not follow entirely. That kind of mindset with someone that is clueless and is getting inside the National Guard, they're going to hear this and they're going to think, oh, the President of the United States is giving me orders. I swore an oath. You know, I swore an oath in front of a commander, you know, when I got enlisted, and said that I'll follow the orders of the President of the United States and the Governor of Michigan. That's where I live. And, you know, I'll follow their orders. And so now I have to think, oh, I have to follow the president's order, but he may give me an order that's not legal, and I'm going to get in trouble and I'm going to ruin my life. That's going to be behind, you know, my mind all the time.
Yeah. No, of course. Of course.
And so I don't believe Donald Trump is ever going to give me an order. And as a criminal justice major, you know, I'm going to get my associate soon. I understand more than other people a little bit about the law, not federal, of course, but, you know, Michigan law, and it's kind of similar in a way. And as an MP, I'll know even more about military law. So, but that doubt, and most of all, not my own doubt, but other enlistment people's doubt, is gonna, you know,
It's
designed
to basically bring disunity and lower morale. That's what the objective is. The objective is to try and intimidate folks like you from complying with orders by second guessing every order and making the military as dysfunctional as possible, which is so self-destructive that it's shocking that anyone who's an actual political leader would say such a thing out loud. Let me just pause for a second here. Ben, you're free to make a complete and total clown out of yourself in the chat. That's fine. I don't like the all caps because it feels very spammy. I understand that if you're sitting there on the left, you're obviously going to be a racist. So you hear someone with a little bit of an accent and you think that they live in Mexico because you're just a freaking racist. That's okay. I don't mind that. And my chat can stand up for themselves. But if you're so insecure that people are going to be able to hear you, that you feel like you need to talk in all caps, then perhaps you're probably not in the best. You're not in the best of houses to be throwing stones. But I'm not going to tolerate that because that feels spammy. You can say whatever you want, but if you just if comment after comment is going to, I'm giving you a warning now that the 3 rules I have is basically no racism, no violating terms of service, and no spamming. The spamming is because if everyone was talking in all caps, the chat would become just the cluster fart that I have no doubt that Destiny's chat is. So I'm not looking for that. This is actually a chat intended for folks who have, I don't know, finished high school for the most part you know, for people who can handle themselves maturely. You can be rude. You could be a jerk. Just don't do it in all caps. And if you do,
I was
I'm just gonna have to remove you from the chat.
I was reading his comments, and I'm sorry. The way I speak through the phone is way different than I speak in person. I get a little bit nervous. My heart rate, my
Don't worry.
voice.
Don't worry about that.
I sound like I'm gonna in the verge of crying, but you know, it's just I'm nervous when I speak to people in the phone.
Allegan
And
has
no,
a
I'm
question
not
for
from-
you. He has a question for you. He says the Air National
Yeah.
Guard is a higher bonus. Why did you select National Guard? My son is considering
Right.
service, so he's asking
So-
you what came to that. So can you
Yes.
can you answer that for him?
Yes, of course. So I was talking with actually an Air Force and National Guard's, you know, recruiter when I was, you know, thinking about joining the Army. And honestly, it came down to the discipline they kind of put down on you. As I said, I wanna be a law enforcement officer, police officer myself. So I wanted to experience that kind of like tough life in the National Guard. You know, I was looking into other people's experience through Reddit, you know, and other platforms in the Air Force, and what my recruiter for the Air Force told me. And I just kind of wanted the title of NP, military police officer. I know the Air Force has kind of the same kind of position. It's called, I believe, security forces.
Right.
But I wanted to kind of do like kind of the Army. They go out, they sleep in bunk beds, they do that kind of tough outside training, basic training. And so I decided to go for the National Guard on that behalf, because what they told me, the recruiter told me, was that you're going to be in hotels when you go to basic training. You know, you're not going to be doing that kind of tough National Guard basic training. And that's what I was looking for. In my opinion, that's what I wanted to do, kind of like
Right.
the tough, enlisting some kind of discipline on me, because I'm lazy. I rather be on my phone watching movies, reading books, instead of, you know, exercising. So I wanted to do something that would push me to my limits when it comes to you know, being in the Army.
Well, that's great.
So,
No, that's a very important thing. I try to do the same thing when I see like I have a particular shortcoming. Like if you try to just tackle that particular thing, just and meet it head on, and put yourself in a position that you have to be meeting it head on, you're more likely to just overall have genuine overall growth. So
Right.
I have mad
Yeah.
respect for that.
Oh, and honestly, there's this Susar now guy is something in the comments said like start working out now, and that's honestly what I'm doing. I bought a 40-pound vest for myself, because there's something called rocking, I believe, in the that's what my recruiter told me. It's rocking. You have to run 12 miles with like 30-pound bag on your on 3 hours running. And so I'm practicing that just so I'm ready. And so anyways,
Cool.
I also wanted to answer that guy. I'm not Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican.
There you go.
Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
There you
It's
go.
a territory.
There you
so
go.
I'm born as a United States citizen.
There you
I
go.
moved to Michigan when I was 10.
Tell him,
so I'm a
Yanzo.
patriot. I'm as patriotic as any other American. And I'm
God
an
bless you,
American because I
brother.
was born as an American.
God
So
bless you,
anyways,
brother.
I just wanted to hit back,
Nice.
you know, and stuff like that.
Nice. Beautiful. You go get him.
But,
And I'll tell you something. I thank you for your service. I think you're awesome. And my whole chat is saying you're base as hell. Don't worry about like what one guy out there says.
Yeah. So no, you're good. Hey, you're fine. Hey,
Mhm.
I understand. You know, I like to troll a little bit in the chat. So
Cool.
I'm answering the guy Ben Johnson.
Right.
You're fine. I'm just joking around.
Why'd
as
you
well.
go for 8 years instead of four to 6?
Right. So there's something called the kickback, or the kicker, I believe is what it's called. So you can do 622, which is 6 years inactive, and 2 years in inactive. So you're home. You don't have to do you don't have to go to base or where you are currently post at. But if there's an issue, they can call you back, like a war, or the president wants to send people to protect ICE officers like he's doing right now, I will be called and then I have to serve. So there's 6-2, and then you get a kicker, which is you get more money for college. And because I want to get my bachelor's, a bachelor's in criminal justice, and then an associate in, I would say, some kind of mental psychology or something that would help me for criminal investigation.
Cool.
So it's mostly for the benefits in college.
Right. Well,
of course, if you do the ASVAB, you can also get, if you get good grades, because not a lot of people get a bonus when they do National Guard. In my position, I got 7,500 on bonus, but I was told to keep that quiet because not like other people didn't get any bonuses.
And that's because how you graded or what?
Yes. So, the average on the ASVAB is like 50. I should have tried more. I knew if I put more into it, I would have gotten like 90, but I got 71 or 73, if I remember correctly, which is not bad. It got me more money and it got me, that bonus. But either way, you get more points in the ASVAB. You get more opportunities for positions and then bonuses and also, money for college or university.
All right. Well, Jan, so any final thoughts you have before I let you go?
Yes. I would just say that, we're in tough times. Honestly, it's not looking that well for, you watch Tim Pool or you hear what Tim Pool says, Civil War, and
everything's Civil War with him.
That, yeah, I know he sometimes says that jokingly, but it's worrisome, And I'm going to the Army, and I am prepared for whatever comes. But, I'd rather not to come. And I'm worried about the president, as, any other person is, the persecutions. And honestly, I'm worried that, Democrats may win next election or in midterms, and they'll actually do what they want, is just jail every opposition member. And, I would just say, pray, it's all in God's hands. And, if you want to serve, because it's a great time to do it under the best president of the United States, which is President Donald J. Trump. And it's a great honor to serve the American people in a way that I know will benefit not just me personally with the benefits, but, making America safe for everyone against illegal immigration and people who don't deserve to be here, because the American dream is still alive. I'll vote to make sure that it continues to be alive. And, these people that are coming here, which are like Islamists and I'm not going to want to be racist, but they're the most dangerous because they want us dead. They want,
honestly,
to
me, I think that more dangerous to me is what you identified in the beginning of this call. I think that this is one of the most dangerous things that's happened in America in a very long time, is having sitting members of Congress addressing our military and threatening that if they follow orders that will one day be deemed unconstitutional, that they're going to hold them accountable and try and punish them. That to me is designed to chill our military from doing what they need to do. I think that this is so corrupt, it is so corrosive to our military. It's designed to have our military basically abandon the president because they don't like the president. And this is something which is so incredibly dangerous. It's arguably the most dangerous domestic problem we've had in a very long time. I'm very, very concerned that if this were to take root as something that, a noticeable percentage of the military would take it seriously, it could seriously destroy our country.
Right. And, ultimately, I didn't want to rant because we swear an oath to the Constitution, and it's mainly the Constitution, no political party. So when I go in, I don't care if you're a Democrat, you're a Republican. I'm going to follow what the law is, what the Constitution is.
Yep.
I'm a constitutionalist, so I don't care. Whoever tells me if it doesn't follow the Constitution, then I'm not going to follow it. But
the point is, it should be
know,
something that's so clearly over the line.
Yeah.
It's not like will a judge will just say this unconstitutional or not. It's like, no, this is definitely wrong on every level. If it's at that point, then you're like, okay, fine. I'm not doing something that I think is wrong on every level. But like, if it's something that like your default has to be, it has to be that this is an order I'm given, I'm supposed to follow it, unless like it seems like utterly crazy. But like, you know, defending ICE, defending people who are trying to uphold federal law, and to me, this is a no-brainer, and that they're trying to make that criminal and protect these people who are looking to agitate and break the law. They're looking to protect people who are breaking the law by trying to impede ICE. To me, this is so corrosive that it threatens everything that our country is about. Jan, so I thank you again. God bless you. I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much, because I'm freezing. You know, last time I called you, my mom like came to my room like 3 times.
Yeah.
So I went outside. It's snowing. It feels like it's 15, but it's actually 23 degrees. It's Michigan. You know, it's cold. My hands are cold. So I appreciate you letting me go, but I could talk forever. Honestly, that's who I am.
I know.
Thank you very much.
I will
And
urge
it's nice
you, as I let
interacting
you
with the
go,
chat.
just check the last super chat that came in from Allegan News, because it sounds like he's making a suggestion to you. But I gotta let you go, brother. Okay.
I will. Thank you very much. Good.
Take care. All right. So we're starting to wrap up over here. In case you were wondering what happened in the end with the naming of this adorable little puppy dog. I guess at this point it's a dog. That's a later. Oh, this is puppy stage, right? This is puppy stage. If you're wondering what the name is, according to our chat, what they want to name it, the votes are in. I'm going to close that poll down now. The votes are in, and our poll says only 27% are in favor of Michaela, 30% for Fiona, and 43% for Daphne. So I think Daphne it is. 187 votes. There you go. 187 votes. Malcolm saying, Joe, off topic. Did you catch Riquet's breakdown of your debate with Destiny? It was epic. I didn't know he did that. Did he really? He broke it down? Now I'm curious. Now I want to see that. Now I have to watch this. He broke down my debate with Destiny. I feel flattered. Now I want to see it. Remember in the military, the orders have come through JAG, who reviewed them for conformity with law and constitution. Oh my God, how long is that video? Now I was going to let you all go. I'm not watching the whole thing now with you guys. That's definitely not happening. Let me see this. Which video is it? Is it So It's War? I see here he says Andrew Wilson and Destiny call me out. That was 20 hours ago. Let me see. Oh yeah, here it is. Did he go through the whole thing? Oh my God, he went through the whole thing? He went through the whole thing. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Now I'm flattered. Who knew? What we got going on here? Remember, in the military, the orders have come through JAG, who review them from conformity with law and constitution. Yeah. Actually, that's a great point. That's a phenomenal point, which is all the more reason that our military should put trust in and the orders they're getting as being constitutional, and not be listening to these clowns who are trying to pretend that they should be disregarding lawful orders. Is it time to ban Trump replacing with JD Vance? Absolutely not. No. No, 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 no. No. Trump is the greatest president of the last 100 years, at least. His policies are exceptional. Exceptional. Sometimes he'll say things I don't like. Sometimes I don't like his position on H-1B. I don't like that. I think that that's abandoning what it is that he promised. You know, I don't like the fact that he started making exceptions with respect to illegal aliens. So some of the policies he implements, he's doing, I'm not crazy about. But his international foreign policy is just chef's kiss, time and time again, which is fundamentally the primary role of the president. But to galvanize the base, I think that he could do more to galvanize the base. And I definitely think he needs to press upon Pam Bondi, because, as I mentioned in my earlier show, I think that she needs to be doing a lot more. A lot more. All right. What part of this show should I watch? Should I watch this? Oh my God. This sounds like, hey, it's been a long time since I saw you. Good to see you, CA Human. Good to see you. Wow.
Why they're talking at all. These two are not lawyers. These two are lawyers. They're discussing Trump's involvement in, his responsibility or culpability for the recent shooting.
I'm so curious to watch this now. I haven't even, I'll be frank with you, I haven't even watched debate since I had it. I haven't watched it a single time. JD and Don Jr. So Trump Vance, why Vance Trump? I'd sign for that.
Of 2 National Guardsmen by an Afghan national. Right, that's what they're discussing. Oh, right before Bush coming in here at the last second. Give me a channel that it was streamed up. We could go back because I didn't get to hear what Joe had to say. Really adds nothing to this discussion, but Destiny seems to be unaware of.
Oh man,
kind of basic.
I'm gonna have a hard time not spending the next 4 hours watching this. 3 hours. There's 3 more hours of this. I'm gonna have a hard time not watching that. I almost invited Nick on. I almost did, because they asked me to name someone, and I actually picked Branka first. And I'd forgotten 2 things when I picked Branka. I'd forgotten just how abrasive, like childishly abrasive, Destiny can be. You know, where it's like, you're such a retard, like just cutting off and saying, you're such a retard, why don't you stop, like, you know, beep, 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 and just, you know, that. And I'd forgotten how Branka would react to that. As soon as Branka said, this is going to continue, I'm not going to stay, I was like, he's not staying. He's going to be gone in 10 minutes. He's going to be gone in 10 minutes. And I was like, I regretted not thinking of that. And I regretted putting him in that position. But wait until Destiny starts flailing his arms. Joe lacks the skills to create viral content. He could have made a viral moment by calling Destiny a wife observer, but instead Destiny spazzed. I'd forgotten about that. I'd forgotten about that whole thing. That would have been funny. Let's watch it together. I was muted at the beginning. What did I say? I wasn't muted. The first 13 minutes. It's hard for me to read my own lips. Should have called Nick. It's internet blood sport. Next time I will. Next time I will. Next time Wick asks me to come on.
Functions of government, and then the realities between the interplay of different
Doesn't go through the whole debate.
entities
There's no
throughout the
left in
stream
this
that I've
video.
seen. Now, that might change past the 20-minute mark, but I'm going to try not to like have too many aneurysms because I don't want to end up like Kim Kardashian. Well, except for the rich part. Cal is more an X 1470 says Trump isn't even the most culpable.
Should I watch this on locals with you all? I'm thinking about it. All right. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to sit through all of it. I'll give you, you know what? I think I missed locals. You know what? Let's do locals. I'm going to do this on locals. I'm not doing the whole thing. But I'll watch an hour of it with you on locals. This is like Inception, where I'm watching Nick watching me. I'll set this up to be in 10 minutes. Schedule. Like I said, I haven't even watched this myself. All right, let me share the post here. Copy. All right. That's weird. All right, I'm pinning this in locals. I'm going to pin this in. And we did need no Tybrenko. I'll pin this in the chat. I'm also going to put it in the description in case you're watching afterwards. Pin this in the chat. Pin this in the chat. Probably. I guess I don't think he doesn't have patience for the childishness. Let me put this in the description also. All right. Fine. I'll see you all over on locals very, very shortly. I'm going to close down over here, and that locals is scheduled to happen, I don't know, another 5 minutes or so. 12:53 a.m. is when it's scheduled for. So that's obviously going to happen exactly at 12:53 a.m. So you definitely want to get on over there. Those of you who join us, great. Those of you who don't, totally understand. Till next time. He only watches for a bit and then gives up. Well, like I said, he has 3 hours left in this video. And really my best part, I think, was near the end. That's really my best part. But anyway, I'll catch you all over on Locals. Whether you're there or not, it's definitely not going to be gnawing on lab meat. We established that. I think the one thing we established is no lab meat for you. It's not meant for you. It was never meant for you. You shouldn't be having the lab meat. The lab meat is only meant exclusively for they, them. And do not, under any circumstances, do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. You don't want. Nothing good ever came from eating the bugs. Catch me on Locals. If not, you'll catch me tomorrow. Until then, good night. Godspeed. Hit the like.